Hello everyone and welcome to this session. Today we will be talking about web debuggers. This will be a briefly explanation on how to use a web debugger tool and identify Kaltura objects in it. What is a web debugger? It's a tool that helps us to debug the traffic between the server and client. In that way we may be able to identify the root cause when a client reports an issue that might be related to a network. There are several web debugger tools. The most common used in Kaltura support are Fiddler on Windows, Charles on Mac, and Google Chrome Developers Tool on the browser itself. Now, during this session, we will be focused on Fiddler, what it's good for, how to use it, how to collect all the information transferring between the client and server, and how to use it in order to resolve issues. The arrow in black represents all the requests that are being sent from the client to the server, and the green one represents the responses sent from the server to the client. The eye in the middle represents Fiddler, which tracking down all that passes from one side to another. Note that there will always be feedback from the server to client, but never will be feedback from the client to the server. Fiddler describes the request from the client and the answers from the server, letting us know how the things look like and identify possible fails. Now let's pretend that we are in a restaurant and the client ordered a juice. Fiddler sees what the request was and also identify that from the bar, which is the server in this case, was delivered a juice. However, at the client's table, a coffee arrives. Thanks to Fiddler, we identified that, or we narrowed down that the issue is where the issue could be. In Kaltura terms, this could be related to a CDN or a network cache. If instead the request from the client came out good, or let's say a request was sent good, but it didn't come out good from the server, for instance, we know that the issue is directly on the server side. Please note that this is a systematic way to see how things work. Now I'm going to show you the Fiddler interface and how it works. Okay, it's very important once we install the Fiddler on our computer to set the Fiddler to collect or to capture the HTTPS call, which are basically the calls that we send usually on a request. For that, we go to the tools, options, HTTPS, and we tick the decrypt HTTPS traffic. You might be prompted with some certificate approval. Just click accept. Now, general overview: on the left side, we have all the requests sent to the server. On the right side, the responses from the server. There are two important commands that I like to use when using Fiddler, and is Control X, which help us to empty the sessions or the requests, and F12, or we can just click here to start capturing or stop capturing. It is very important to, whenever we're going to be study or analyze a session, to very precise and be focused on what we really need. So those two tools help us to catch exactly what we need. Now for testing, I'm going to use one of the most common say requests from Kaltura, which is play manifest. When a user clicks on the play button on a player. So have the Fiddler. I'm going to start capturing and send the request. Stop it, go back to the Fiddler, and I can stop it again and I can see the request is here. So we can see this is the play manifest. This area is very specific. We can identify that everything was sent here in detail. Entry ID, flavor ID, protocol, delivery type, everything is done. Let's say we request to the client in a very specific way. And if we click on it here, we got the response. Okay. Now, in this area, we can see the variables or what was sent or what was received on the server side. And here is the response. Okay. For this example, I would like to emphasize that in the raw tab, we are able to identify which was the server that provided us the request. In this case, we refer to the XME line, and we can see that this request was sent from the New York data center. For the second example test, I'm going to use our TestMe console. Here, I'm going to send a request, a basic API request, and we will identify the variables and what is sent from in the Fiddler. For that, I'm going back to my Fiddler, Control X to empty my sessions, and then go back here. I'm going to use a very simple call, which is base entry list. This API call will generate all the entries associated to a partner ID. Go back to my Fiddler, start capturing, and send the request. All right. So here we have the response on our TestMe console. Now I go back to the Fiddler and I go to the request that was sent. And here we can identify the same. Here it tells us what is the service and what was the action, in this case list, and where the request was sent from. Okay, now this also can be very specific. If we go back I wanted to filter this by user ID. Say I'm going to user ID when I use test2 and send the request again. Now it gave me a different report. If I go back to my hold on, I will need to capture it again. All right, I go back to my Fiddler. Now I can see that the response or what gets to the server is more specific and provides me also the user ID. Also very important, we can see on XML, we can see a bigger picture of what the result is. We can see here basically the items that were sent, which are the same items that are displayed in this interface. All right, this is all for today. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed this session.